Hi, my friend Alexandra Harbushka here. I'm excited to be talking to you today about 4 essential tips to shifting your mood and vibration for a better manifestation. All right. So, as you know, when we talk about manifestation, we talk about it being your vibe. It's all about your vibe, right? So you got to vibe right with whatever it is that you're attracting. And you may think like, Alexandra, wait, am I supposed to be like vibing high all day, every day and in a positive mood? And what if I get a bad thought that goes through my mind? Like, what's going to happen? So I just want to clarify that we have the choice to choose our thoughts. And that may sound like a really new concept to us or a new concept to you. But at the end of the day, we do have a choice. Now, I've been there. You've been there. I know we've all been there when we go down a rabbit hole or we're just in a funk, or maybe it's seasonal, maybe it's weather, maybe there is something going on. But when we are on the right vibe and we're on the right vibe with our manifestations, they show up faster. They show up swifter. They show up a little bit more with ease. They show up, they just show up a little bit easier. So you're like, but wait, if I'm having a bad day, am I still going to manifest? Yes, you're still going to be able to manifest what you want, even if you have a bad day, even if you had a bad week, even if you have a bad month, whatever that is, you're still going to be able to manifest those things. If you're new to manifestation, this is something that held me back from manifesting or understanding it for so many years. It's like, well, what if I have these bad thoughts because you're telling me that your thoughts create your reality? What if I'm just in this super big Eeyore funk and I just continue to have these negative thoughts? Am I going to manifest that? So short answer is, well, if you're continuing to think those things, then yes. But if you have a bad day, you don't need to worry about it. I want you to know, though, that even when you are in a frustrated or angry state, you still are able to manifest positive things. You are able to use that time to go, ooh, that was a thought I don't like, and I'm going to change that. Like even just this morning, I was coming back from a bar class and I was like kind of in a I shouldn't have been in a funk because it was great. But I was like, and I was like, no, Alexandra, change your mind. You just went to bar class. Like how awesome is that? That's a privilege. You get to go do that. Something I want to definitely acknowledge. So we're talking about shifting your mood, right? Shifting your vibe, shifting your mood. If you are in a deep place that is dark, okay, maybe you're going through something huge. Maybe you just had a loss of a loved one. Maybe you just went through a divorce. Maybe you just lost your home. I don't know. You're going through something really, really, really deep. This is not for that. What we're going to talk about is not for that. This can help you, but I want you to seek professional help, okay? Because that's what's going to help you get through a deep spot that you might be in. So I just definitely want to clarify that and make sure that we acknowledge that. So let's go back to when you're in a funk, right? So maybe you're in a reactive state. So we have proactive state when you're like, I'm going to be proactive with my day. Reactive is like, oh my gosh, something just triggered me. That could be maybe you had a fight with your spouse on the way out the door. Maybe your mother-in-law said something to you. Maybe your best friend did something. I don't know. Or maybe you're pregnant like me and you're like, something just triggered me. Maybe you saw something on Instagram and it just puts you in a tailspin. Okay, so what happens when you go into a tailspin is you go into a low vibe, right? So you go into anger or you go into frustration or you go into jealousy or you go into things like that. What happens when we get there? And if we don't clear that energy, our chakras get blocked. So chakras are a whole other episode that we'll get into, but we all are familiar with, we've heard of chakras. If you're listening to this podcast, you've heard of chakras, obviously. So we don't want these chakras to get stuck. We want it to move through. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to say, oh, this just pissed me off or whatever, and just, as my husband likes to say, stew on it. Like I like to stew. I like to be mad about it. Like if I'm mad at him, I'm like, I just want to stew for like a bit. And he's like, Alexandra. I'm like, so anyways, that's not what you want to do, even though I like to do it. We don't want to do that. We want to get that out and get it moving through our body. When we just swallow it, it gets stuck. Like we're saying, it gets stuck in the chakras, and eventually we get used to swallowing it. So something that triggers us, maybe it's you see something on Instagram, maybe it's something you've been working for the last 3 years. Maybe I'll be totally honest, maybe I'm pregnant right now. Maybe you're watching me and you're like, I've been wanting to get pregnant for the last 3 years. Maybe that's triggering, right? And so just like holding on to that is not the right thing. It's to move through it. We hold on to it. It causes anxiety. It lowers your vibration, depression, and long-term it causes disease. Okay, so let's talk about when we're in that anger, that frustration, that sad spot that I kind of mentioned in the beginning. What can we do to get you out of that low vibrational space and into a high vibe, right? So we can manifest swifter, so we can be on the same page. It just, come on, it feels better to feel good. Like, it doesn't feel good to be, grumpopotamus over here. So number one, we want to calm our nervous system. The nervous system is something that I have really taken to heart in the last year of learning and really taken, I didn't understand how important the nervous system is in our body. It's something that we don't really talk about. It's not really mentioned in the medical world. But when we are in the sympathetic state, so that means we're in our fight or flight or freeze or fawn or whatever, but fight or flight is what we're most common with. When you're in that activated state, you're not vibing at the high. It's not possible to be vibing at the high. I mentioned earlier, if you're going through something really tough, so maybe you're in a panic state. Maybe you're shaking. Maybe you have the dry heaves. Maybe you've been crying. Maybe you're in that spot. And hey, we've all been there. We need to do everything we can to get ourselves out of that. Now, as moms, we see our children go there. My son 2 nights ago woke up in an absolute panic. He couldn't find me even though I was in bed, even though he looked in bed, but I was right there in bed, but he couldn't find me and he freaked out and he's running all over the house. He was in a sympathetic state. He was he was crying. He was dry heaving. And so what did I do? I thought, okay, I have to do everything I can right now to calm him down, you can't tell someone logically, okay, my son's name is Clinton. Okay, Clinton, calm down. Mom's here. No, I physically have to use my body to calm my son's nervous system down. He doesn't know how to do that yet. And a lot of times we don't know how to do that. This is a learned behavior to keep ourselves in fight or flight. And so back to another great example with my son was I held his head, I held on to him so that, and we breathed deeply together. I didn't say, stop crying. I didn't say, hey, what's the big deal? I'm right here. We breathed in and out together to help calm him down. So something that we can do, I will dedicate a whole nother episode to this, but just a few things. Breathe deep. Sometimes if you put cold water over your wrists, this is something I've heard from some other people, again, you're in that panic state like my son was. He couldn't find me in the middle of the night. Put cold water over your wrist. Something else that I am obsessed with, and I'll get into in a little bit, is tapping, EFT tapping. I am absolutely obsessed with that. It calms your nervous system down in a jiffy. So I will get into that in a little bit, but those are just some things we can do. The next thing I want you to do when you are in this heightened state is honor where you're at. Again, we as humans, we are taught to overlook it and be like, oh, I can't feel this way, or I shouldn't feel this way, or I'm just going to ignore that I feel this way. No, you need to honor where you're at. Honor that you are freaking out, or honor that you're mad or frustrated. This is teaching you something. And when we try to avoid it, when we try to numb it with whatever we try to numb it with, maybe it's some sort of a substance, maybe it's some sort of, we just swallow it and keep going. Maybe we bury ourselves in our work, whatever it is. That is going to impact us because we're going to have to deal with it at some point. Obviously something is triggering you and you're going to have to, I hate that feeling when I swallow it and I'm like, oh, I can't deal with it right now. Well, guess what? It's going to come up at some point, right? We've all done that. So look at where it is in your body. Where are you feeling it? Is it in your heart? Is it in your throat? Is it in your gut? Do you now have a stomach? Does your stomach feel like it's in knots? Does your heart feel like it's hurting? Do you feel like you can't get your words out? Acknowledge where it is. And this is when we try to just, again, swallow it, we're actually in a lack of power. So we're giving that emotion the power over us. We have the power to breathe through it. Sometimes if we just breathe through it, it's like, oh, I just cried it out and I'm fine. Sometimes you're like, okay, Alexandra, I needed I needed like 5 days of crying. But yeah, sometimes if we just cry it out and just acknowledge where we're at, we can feel so much better. Okay, step 3. This is something that I've often overlooked, but is crucial, is journal it out. Okay, get it out. Write like there's no judgment. Write like nobody's going to read it, because nobody is going to read it. Just you are going to read it, and write it all out. Write everything that comes to your mind. If you're pissed off, write like you're pissed off. If you are sad, write like Shakespeare. If you are wherever you're at, just write it and get it out of your body. Get it out, get it out, get it out. Because again, we want to get this energy. We can't see energy moving through our body, but we want to get it moving through our body. You want to go back to speaking of getting it through your body, put your hand on your heart and like feel your heartbeat and feel the fact that you've just journaled this out, and see how you feel now. Like if it was your heart that was hurting, if it was your throat that you felt, your stomach, wherever it was, feel it. Does it feel better? Did you get it out? Again, be kind with yourself. Okay. Don't be like, oh, I didn't get it out. Like, be kind. Maybe you need more time, but practice opening up. Like, visualize, if it's your heart, for example, visualize like there's literally light going to your heart and like the love, and it's shattering the low vibe. It's shattering the anger or the resentment or the hurt that you have at this moment. For example, if you need to heal frustration or jealousy, ask yourself, can I keep my heart open so I can see like if you're jealous of someone on Instagram, right? Just like, can I ask yourself to like, can I look at this person without jealousy and realize that this is a possibility? If she can do it, I can do it, right? Okay, 4th step, give it to God. Now, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. But if you believe in source, universe, whatever, give it to God. Okay, so you've just now, number 1, we've calmed our nervous system, right? We've done our best to calm. 2, we've honored where we're at. We're not getting upset with ourselves because we're upset. We've honored where we're at. Now we've put it out on paper. Now give it. This is a huge part of the manifestation process. Because if we, again, just hold on to it and get stuck there and sit there, we're still sitting in our guck. We're still sitting there. So we need to be able to give it to somebody, right? And give it to God and say, I'm asking you, here's my problem. Let's work on this together. Can you show me the way so that I can find peace with this? Or can you show me the way, or can you show me the steps? Or can you help me heal from this? Or can you introduce me, or can you give me a sign that there's possibility? And it'll show up. It may take a minute, but it'll absolutely show up. I just want to like circle back here and remember, when we put pause on our feelings, so it could just be like, oh, nope. I don't want to deal with it. I'm at work today. I don't have time or whatever. Nope. I don't want to deal with it. That is just prolonging the change. It's making you a prisoner to your feelings, when really you have the power to break free from your feelings. You have the choice to break free. And I've just given you some examples of how you can start to break through them on your own. Now, again, if this is something really, really deep and you've been struggling with a long time, please seek professional help. But you can hire a coach. You can call your mom. You can call your best friend. Whatever you need to do. But remember, I truly believe we're given problems that we can handle, and we're given problems that we need to address in order for us to grow. And I believe that they come up when we are manifesting, when we are trying to get to the next level, when we are trying to become the next version of ourselves. We're given tests to say, like, are you ready? Because when you look at Instagram, you get pretty triggered by someone and that pisses you off. So are you really ready to be that person? Let's move through this. All right. Earlier, I talked about tapping. Tapping is something that I absolutely am obsessed with, or EFT. It is something that I use daily on my son to calm his nervous system before he goes to bed. I use it daily. And it's something that, like I said, has changed my life. And I do have a free video on it for you. And what I love about it is you're going to be tapping into one of the biggest limiting beliefs that hold us back from manifesting money. And the limiting belief is, I wasn't born with money, so therefore I'll never be rich. And so it's something that we tap through and we go through. I have it linked for you. It is life-changing, especially if tapping is new to you. It's something that only takes a few minutes a day. You can do it in the car. You can, like, if I'm like stuck in traffic or freaking out or whatever, if I'm upset with my husband or whatever, I'll just start tapping, and I know that I'm calming my nervous system. Because if I'm in that parasympathetic state, if I'm in that heightened state, if I'm in that fight or flight, I know that I'm not thinking straight. I know that I'm hurting. I don't want to use the word hurt. I know that I am dysregulating my body, especially being pregnant. I know that that's not helping my baby. I know it's not helping my body. It's producing cortisol hormone. It's doing all sorts of things. We need to get our bodies out of that fight or flight and back. So anyways, check out the link below. Let me know your thoughts on this. I will see you in the next episode, and bye-bye for now. Hey there. Okay, don't go away. I have a free gift for you. So if you are like me when you started manifestation and you're like, what is the best way for me personally to go about manifesting my dreams, my goals, and things like that? So I created a free quiz that will help you determine your manifestor type, okay? And here's the best part about it, is this free resource will give specific manifestation practice tools for you that you can start using every single day. And plus, there's a bonus, is you get 30 days worth of journal prompts for your specific manifestation type. So I have it for you below. Go check it out. It's free. The quiz is fun. It's in the description. Go take your quiz.